Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be teaching you how to mix skin tones. My lesson is going to be a self-portrait for my 6th graders, and since we can't do a whole self-portrait in this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you just how to make different skin tones with paint. So as you can see, I've got my palette mixing pad right here. That's where we're going to mix the paint. I have some various brushes that we will use. And then when mixing the paint, you're going to need a red paint, a yellow paint, a blue paint, a black paint, and some white paint. I'll be using acrylic paint for this mixture today. So when you're making skin tones, the goal is to make a brown. And you make a brown through mixing all the colors together. So if I was going to start to make a brown, I would start with a little bit of red, and this red is pretty bright. It's almost a red-orange, so we'll probably need to mess with that a little bit. We've got a little bit of yellow. And we've got our blue, and my blue paint is very chunky and bad, as you can see. Hopefully yours is better than mine, but we'll work with it. And I'm just going to start by mixing all of these together and seeing what we have at first. As you can see, my blue is not wanting to mix, but we're going to work with it. So it's kind of transforming. You can see those browns start to come out, but I think I've added a little too much red here. So how we're going to correct that is just by adding more of the yellow and blue. So what I like to do is take a little bit of this color that we have and start kind of a new color tone over here. And then we're going to get a little bit more of our yellow. And a little more of our very chunky blue here. And then we're just going to take that same brush and mix these with our previous pigments as best as we can. Normally you'll end up with a much creamier paint, but mine is kind of a thick chunk, so apologies for that. As you can see in the video, this one is coming out much less red tinted. It's a much more neutral brown. Very nice, very rich. You just keep mixing all of your colors in until you've got it nice and evenly mixed. Now, depending on what skin tone you're going for, you could stop here if this matches your skin tone. If your skin tone is a little bit more of a warmer skin tone, you can add a little bit more of the red and yellow to lighten that up. If you have a cooler skin tone, you can go ahead and add more blue to kind of give that cool effect. But this is a pretty neutral brown right here. And if this were my self-portrait, my skin, as you can see, very, very white here. So if I were to continue with this, I would do what I've been doing, I'd take a little bit of my color here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my white. And so you add a little bit at a time because you don't want to over lighten it. So we'll add a little bit of white, we'll mix this in, see how this does. You can see how much that little bit of white already lightened that up. So here we've got kind of a nice medium toned brown. This brown does seem to be a little bit on the cooler side, which again, if you need a warm skin tone, you can go ahead and add a little more of the red or a little more yellow into there to kind of lighten that up a bit. But for now, I'm just going to keep adding the white to see where we end up. This is a pretty good brown. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the same pile just so you can see. Do a little bit more white in there. It's looking pretty good. For me, I would say probably still some more white. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. I'll try to just do it in this corner here so you can see. Take a little bit, mix it together. This is probably close to the lightness of my skin tone. The lights are a little off in here, so my skin is appearing kind of more dark and almost yellowish, but I have a very pale, very red-based skin tone. So if I wanted to correct this a little bit more, I could go ahead and try out some of the different colors with this base that I have. So if I wanted to make it just a tad bit more kind of reddish pinky, I would just add the very, very, very slightest bit of red. Again, this red is very bright and I don't want to make it too fluorescent over here. So we just take a little bit of our base and then just like a dab of that red, mix that together. And now we've got a nice rosy skin tone over here from this bit of red. And if you wanted to lighten that even further, you could even add some more white. But just to go ahead and show you what each of the colors does with this base that we've created, I'll go ahead and add some more of the yellow and some more of the blue. So you can see here, we'll do the yellow right over here. And then we'll do the blue right up here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and take a fresh brush and then we'll take our base. There you go. And we'll take just a touch of that yellow and we'll see what that does with our base. Maybe a touch more there. Now you can see we're getting kind of a nice golden skin tone from the yellow. And now we'll go ahead and test our blue, maybe, if it works, if it mixes with us. So we'll do a little bit of our base, and then we'll just get a tad bit of that blue, try to mix it in as best as we can. Now we've got a nice neutral blue. This is probably a little too blue to be a primary skin color, but it could be a little bit of a shading or maybe some shadow effects if you wanted to go with that. And if you wanted to then incorporate all of these into a final skin tone, you could take a little bit of each color that you've made and combine them all into what we get a nice final brown skin mixture. So this is a nice kind of more red tinted skin tone we've made here. And again, if I did want to just go ahead and get that lightness on it, we'll add just our white levels until we reach a level that we're comfortable with that skin tone. You can go ahead and mix this in just so you can see. Now we've ended with a nice, really kind of reddish tinted light skin tone, which is actually really close to my actual skin tone. Although in here, my skin does look a bit more yellow, but it actually is pretty close to this color. And we could go ahead and paint our self-portraits with that. So when mixing your skin tones, it really is a process of trial and error. It's combining all those colors together and seeing what works, what doesn't, and just testing it out, and also looking at your own skin tone to see how close you can get with that. But hopefully this was a helpful little demo to get some different skin tones. This is how I do it. You might do it a different way. That's okay. But hopefully this helps you, and I look forward to seeing all your skin tone mixtures. Thank you.